Yesterday at about 3 a.m. in the morning at the 12,600 block of drifting winds, a 911 call came into the Precinct 3 Constable's office. Sherman Eagleton is the constable who dispatched units to a cat on fire. That was the report, which of course is animal cruelty. This video that we have retrieved is absolutely disturbing. It's upsetting to me as a law enforcement official. Anybody that mistreats animals has a very special place for me. The units got there. They called the Houston SPCA, has a 24-hour ambulance service that will come out and assist injured animals. They arrived and took the cat to a veterinarian, and they tried to save this cat's life, and the cat did perish. Today, my office, in conjunction with the Houston SPCA, our partners, went out to start the investigation as to how this cat was set afire. And we have got some suspects that we are in the process of interviewing and doing an investigation on. When we got to the house, the suspected house.
Okay. They're coming from that one or not?
I think they are.
When they arrived at the suspected house of the people they wanted to interview, we also brought with us, because we were told that there were other animals present at the house that needed to be looked at, and ultimately we had to get a warrant to seize all the animals at this house. In total, there were 10 animals that were seized at this house. There were 2 adult dogs, 7 puppies, and 1 cat. The animals were at different phases of no shelter, no water. From all appearances, they looked like they were in poor medical shape, and they also needed medical attention. So we seized all of the animals, and now we're in the process of doing the investigation on the cat being set afire and all these other animal cruelty situations that we have. We believe that the cat was set on fire using gasoline. Again, the video is deeply disturbing to someone that loves animals as much as I do, and to other people that love animals. It's very disturbing to watch. And so we are going to hold the people. Once we determine who they are, we're going to file charges on them, and we're going to go all the way through the entire system, because it is animal cruelty. Animals don't have voices to speak for themselves. We all have to be their voice. And as I said, I'm an animal lover, and this disgusts me. Anybody that's going to mistreat an animal like this just holds a very special place for me. And often, animal cruelty leads to other crimes in the future. Many people that abuse animals at a young age go on to tend to be abusers of people and other criminal behavior. So that's what we got as of now, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So you guys have made contact with the juvenile suspects? You're interviewing them?
We will be making contact with them and interviewing them. We did all of the legwork to ensure that they were properly identified. Thankfully, we have great citizens that helped and cooperated with us to identify who the kids were, and we are going to be bringing them in, of course, to interview them. But the first things we do is we start gathering information, start gathering the evidence, and we talk to them last.
What are their ages?
I don't know their ages.
10 to 15.
Okay.
Yeah, but we don't know for a fact because we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't want to speculate, but they are juveniles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you've identified them, so you guys know their names and everything.
We know who they are. We do. I just don't know their ages, but they're juveniles, so they're under 16 years old, 16 or younger.
We don't know if they lived in that house. I'm just letting you know. We knocked on the door, and an adult answered, and a constable was briefed on. We don't know exactly where they are at this moment, but they're working.
We know who they are.
So what about the guardians or parents of these kids? Have they been contacted?
They have not answered the door yet, but we'll be speaking to them. We don't go away.
If you're not sure if the kids actually live in that house, do you know if the adults in that house are the guardians? Or
We don't, not yet. As I said, I've had investigators out there all day today. They're still out there. So, you know, basically, we're going to investigate this thing. We have very good evidence. We have very good information about who they are. And, of course, we have video evidence of the cat being set afire and running down the street.
So it's fair to say that these two juveniles frequent this house. You get learn that much from the neighbors?
Yeah, I mean, the neighbors knew them, so they knew them, so it's pretty apparent that they live in the area, if not that house.
So this was an investigation of one crime which led to an investigation of additional possible crimes.
Yeah, additional animal cruelty cases, yes.
Absolutely.
And so that's why we went out and seized other animals from the house. First thing we typically do if we have an animal cruelty case is obviously see if there's other animals that reside at the home. And if they do, we of course do an observation of them. We see if they meet the criteria of having food, water, shelter, medical. And when we did that this morning, we saw that these animals were at different states of ill health, no shelter, no water, no food. And you know, the temperatures were pretty high today. And so we seized the animals. And so we got a court order to seize the animals. And of course the people will have to come in and try to say that they weren't mistreated. But all the animals go to the Houston SPCA and they're evaluated by veterinarians. And the veterinarians will tell us if they're, you know, emaciated, if they're dehydrated, if they have worms, if they have been mistreated. We'll get reports back from the veterinarians that tell us exactly medically what phase the animal's in, which is of course evidence for us.
Are these felony charges?
Can be,
They
they can be felony, sure can. It all depends. The cruelty to animals for shelter, water, food, and health is an Class A misdemeanor. But the setting a cat on fire certainly could lead to a higher charge.
You know better than anyone that, you know, it's rare a case of cruelty that law enforcement is the first, sees it for the first instance of it.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any accounts from neighbors of them doing similar type of stuff in the neighborhood that they had witnessed?
Not yet, but again, we're going over and talking to neighbors and we're talking to people, and so it's possible that we could discover that there has been other animal abuse that may have gone unreported. So I don't want to speculate on that yet. I do want to say that in fact it's early in the investigation, and there very clearly could be additional charges.
I heard the state jail felony from the investigator, just
Okay.
for torture.
So, yeah.
If you want to say that.
So that is a state jail felony, which is a third-degree felony for torturing an animal. I think it should be higher, but that's how I feel about it.
From the point of rescuing the inflamed cat to the point of getting him to the vet where the cat expired, how long did that take? And you know, imagine the amount of pain going involved.
Yeah. I'm sure that the officers arrived on the scene. We're trying to, you know, obviously do everything they could to triage the cat. And the ambulance that goes to scenes from the Houston SPCA, of course, triage, and they take the animal to the closest veterinary clinic that is open 24 hours. So they don't transport the animal back to the Houston SPCA, which could be a long drive. They take it directly, just like you would a human ambulance, goes to the nearest hospital closest to wherever the scene or the medical condition is. So same thing for animals, is they take the animals to the closest open vet to try to save the animal. I mean, just the video was terrible. I mean, that cat burned for a while and suffered greatly. And so, you know, I think some neighbors also came out and tried to provide aid to the cat as well. Yeah, it's disturbing. It's really disturbing. It really is.
With such strong video evidence, how is it that these juveniles or the adult in the house has not already been questioned?
Well, because we have to go through a meticulous process to ensure that we're not violating anybody's civil rights or any kind of, we have to take these cases very methodically, and we go through them piece by piece, and one piece builds on another piece. So we have to interview all the neighbors, anybody that potentially was outside, and people that we know saw something, and people that we just don't know saw something. So we're in the process of going to all the neighbors, going around and getting video. So that one video that you'll have a copy of is just one vantage point. There may be other videos that we have to get. So this happened at 3 a.m. We seized the animals by mid-morning, so that's pretty quick. Of course, there's going to be it's not an autopsy, but it's a necropsy of the animal, the cat. So that's going to take a minute or two. And so we want to get all of our facts before we go and talk to somebody.
But just to go over it, there's 2 juvenile suspects.
Yes.
Connected to this cat, and then one adult suspect?
No, the adults could be charged with the animals that we seized this morning.
How many adult suspects?
2.
And who you believe reside in this house?
They do reside in that house. They do. Where we seize the animals from, they do reside in that house.
And I'm
So it's
assuming-
their animals. I mean, we're going to establish that it's their animals, but it's going to be their animals.
And I'm assuming these felony charges the juveniles are facing, this would be in juvenile court?
It would be.
Well, you talked about how, you start with cruelty to animals, right?
Mhm.
A lot of times these people go on to pretty horrific crimes against humans.
Mhm.
And if they're committing them at this age, but it's, part of their juvenile record, that's not going to be visible on a background check as an adult. So how concerning is that, I guess, in terms of it seems there's going to be a lack of long-term accountability here. People won't even know these people have this in their backgrounds.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a very good point. Juvenile records are sealed, and so you will not see, as they transition to adulthood, you won't see that they committed any kind of acts as a juvenile. So it's just part of the way the system is there to try to reconcile juvenile behavior versus adult behavior, and so you're exactly right. There's no way until they get to the age to where they can be held accountable as an adult that those kind of records will come forward. But the point is getting them into the juvenile system to try to get them on the right path, try to fix the behavior that they're doing, and try to make sure that these are kids that need a lot more guidance than what they're getting. I've seen over my years in law enforcement, I've seen kids do some pretty horrific things to animals, and this is just another instance of it.
Do we know if the cat belonged to anybody, or was it just a stray cat?
Don't know yet. So
there's a lot of abandoned animals on that. I saw a lot while we were there too.
Can you explain to us the reason why the adults may be charged in this case as well?
Sure.
To the audience that don't know.
Sure. So anytime you have an animal that is you own, you have to provide water, shelter, food, and medical attention. If you fail in any of those things, you can be charged for animal cruelty. And usually we go out along with our partners, the Houston SPCA. We'll go out and they get a complaint from a neighbor that somebody doesn't look like their animals are being kept very well. They'll go out, we'll make contact, we'll go and inspect the animal to see if it shows sign of cruelty. We will tell the owner they have 3 days, 4 days to go get a medical evaluation on the animal, and then we come back and see if there is, they provide us with paperwork to show that the animal's either dehydrated or has worms or is malnourished. And once we determine, we try to work with people first, but then we go into the seizure mode where we actually go get a court order to seize the animals. And so if the seizure we did this morning, there was clear evidence to us that the animals were being mistreated. They were being cruelly treated. And so they were low in weight. They looked like they were in bad shape. There was no food, no water, and no shelter. So that meets the criteria of animal cruelty. So that's why we seized the animals and took them to the Houston SPCA, where they'll be, again, medically evaluated. We'll get reports back, and then we'll file charges on the people that, the owners of the animals.
So in all the cruelty cases you guys investigate, how common is it to see an animal set on fire like that?
It's not. I've seen a lot. I mean, I've seen people behead animals. I've seen a lot of different things. I have not seen a lot of animals set afire. I just haven't. And this one, a neighbor's camera, outside camera, caught the entire event. It didn't catch them actually pouring gas on the cat, but it actually, you see the cat running down the street on fire, which was extremely disturbing. It's just, I haven't seen many of them. And we investigate exclusively animal cruelty cases. That division does. We have a couple of investigators, 3 investigators that are assigned to the Houston SPCA, that's all they do is animal cruelty investigations. So it tells you we have a problem. If you have to have 3 investigators whose full-time job it is to investigate animal cruelty.
And you guys handle these cases for the whole county?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Houston PD has an animal cruelty group, and I know the Sheriff's Office has a livestock group, but we do animal cruelty. Yeah. We really are, along with our partners, really subject matter experts on it.
If anybody has any more information out there too, if you go out there, we'll take it.
Yeah.
There's people in the video, after the cat goes across the street.
I saw that.
People on the street.
Yes.
Are those neighbors?
Yes.
What did neighbors, I mean, how are they?
I mean, I think they were as in shock as everybody who sees this video is that, you know, most people I know love animals, care for animals, and so they were in shock as well, and it brought people out. It actually, in the video, you see other animals kind of coming out of garages and different things like that to kind of go out into the street and see what's happening. So I don't know. People and animals at 3 a.m. in the morning were coming out for this case.
This is going to sound a little weird, but
Yeah.
was the cat, you know, we've all heard animals.
I'm sure it
at
was.
night and different levels of distress
Sure.
or fights.
Sure.
Were there noises emanating from this cat?
I couldn't hear anything, but I'm sure that's what alerted other animals, and it alerted people who may have been up or you know, up at that kind of night. They hear an animal crying. I'm sure that alerted them as well. And it was it's a very difficult video to see, and you know that animal suffered greatly. It really did.
The time code on that video says like 1 a.m. Is it just off?
So it's
I
just
believe
off.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna double check that for you right now.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it.
If anybody, I'd like to say this, if anybody has any additional information about this case and have not spoken to us, to please contact our office at 713-755-7628. That's our dispatch center, and they will direct you to our animal cruelty investigators. If you have any information, or if you know any information about this particular case, please contact our office. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, so the investigator thinks it happened around 2:33, so.
Okay.
He's still looking into that though. He noticed it as well.
I was just like, if they took 2 hours to call it in.